him in the basket. Didn't allow him to make that attack off the bounce.
Big fella rolling in, but it's Holmgren with another stop. But defensively, he has been the man. Look at that move!
NBA Draft Fanatics. We're back with another scouting profile, and today it's going to be on a player that I was not going to do this early on in the process. In fact, I was going to save this player toward near the actual NBA draft. At this point, we're still over 2 months away, but I do want to urge you guys to subscribe because we're going to be covering a ton of other NBA draft prospects. And the reason I'm doing this prospect today is I've had way too many comments on the channel, not only asking about this player, what I think on him, but also slandering this prospect, saying that this guy's going to be terrible, and also leaving some terrible comps in the comment section. I'm telling you right now, this player is going to be good. So we're going to talk about him in today's video. And of course, you guys clicked on the title, you saw the thumbnail. This player today is going to be Chet Holmgren. We're talking about Chet Holmgren in today's video because there's been a lot of misunderstanding about what he's going to be in the NBA. I've seen a lot of people say he's going to be terrible. I've seen some people say he's going to be the best player in the league. Neither of those are true. Okay, we're going to talk about that in today's video. We're going to go through his strengths, we're going to go through his weaknesses, and specifically what I see from Chet Holmgren. There's a lot to like about this kid. And we also have a really nice prospect coming up in 2023 in Victor Wembanyama, who's going to be very similar to Holmgren, but a little bit better in pretty much every area. So getting to know Holmgren now is not only going to help you in this draft, but it's probably going to help you in 2023 as well with Victor Wembanyama, who is an overseas prospect who I'm telling you right now going to be very, very good as well. But let's stay focused here on Holmgren. If you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also leave a like on today's video. And in the scouting profile outline here, we're going to stick to the same outline we've done for Hugo Bassan and also Ron Harper Jr., where we focus on player information, their strengths, weaknesses. I give a player archetype, the projected draft range that I could see them going in, which is kind of correlating with the mock drafts that I put out on the channel. If you guys haven't checked those out, make sure to go do so. And then also where I would actually take him if I was a GM and in the driver's seat making decisions for an organization. So we'll talk about that as well. Let's go ahead and move forward here into the information on Chet Holmgren. He's a Minnesota-born player, played his high school ball at Minnehaha Academy, and you see a 7-footer here, 195 pounds, which is very slim and light. That's really where the biggest criticism of him comes, but he also pairs his length and size with the 7'6" wingspan. So a very lengthy player who moves very well on his feet. He's 19 years old at the day I'm recording this. He does turn 20 on May 1st. So he's not the youngest guy in the class by any means, but he's relatively young. He's a freshman forward / center for Gonzaga. Of course, played his lone college season basketball at Gonzaga. And then he's probably the most hated on player in this draft class, which is part of what has spurred me to recording this video. You guys saw it in the open. You're going to see some comments like that all around. So I'm here to try and inform people and let them know really what they should expect from Chet Holmgren moving forward. So let's go ahead and jump into those strengths. And we're going to start with one of the most important ones in today's NBA, pick and roll defense. It has become a staple of NBA basketball since John Stockton really made it a staple, around 40 years ago. This is how good Chet Holmgren is going to be in an area such as pick and roll defense. He's a very versatile defender with great length and athleticism. The fact that he's light also helps him in certain aspects defensively. A lot of people look at it as a complete minus. Sometimes it's a plus. For example, he's going to be fairly switchable out on the perimeter. He's not going to be the type of player you want to just switch out there and just say, okay, yeah, we want you to match up on their point guard. No, but he's going to be more capable than most centers. He's not going to be dead in the water out there. He's going to be able to move his feet, use his length and size and recovery well. And you also see him in certain clips here where he's going to be able to play good drop defense as well. His length not only helps him switching out onto the perimeter, but also containing pick and roll. You'll see multiple clips in today's video where you see him, challenge a guard when they're penetrating at him, or also being able to recover to a big man that he left when he went to go tag the guard in order to give time to his teammate to get back to his matchup. And then he's also able to recover back to the rim. His length, size, and timing there are all phenomenal and also really pair well with his next strength, which is rim protection. He's a very, very good rim protector and very reliable on this end of the floor. And that, again, part of that has to do with his length and size. He clearly is helped and benefited by how lengthy his arms are. His arms go on for days. You'll hear that on draft night from Jay Billis, I'm sure. But In addition to that, it is all about timing, positioning, IQ, understanding, scouting. He does it all. He is someone who knows opponents' go-to moves. He knows what they're trying to do. He's able to play with really great length, and he stays very upright defensively. And by that, I mean vertical. When he's challenging at the rim, he stays very vertical with his arms. Now, one concern I have for him, and you'll see it in a future clip, is he does tend to wrap his left arm around guys when he's getting posted up. That will be called a foul consistently in the NBA. Every single team will counter scout that, and then send those into the league office to get those officiated on harder. So that is a concern for me, is when he's actually dealt with post-ups. I think his rim protection still needs some improvement there because he has a bad tendency. But outside of that, he's a very good rim protector because of his timing, his understanding, and his length ultimately is what allows him to, erase so many shots. He's a special prospect on the defensive end of the floor. And I hope you guys do understand how important that is, because the rim protection element, it's not like he's just a weak side rim protector like what we see from Giannis Antetokounmpo a little bit. This kid has some anchor potential defensively, similar to what Rudy Gobert does for Utah. Now, do I think he'll ever get to Rudy Gobert's level? Probably not. Gobert is a multi-time defensive player of the year, and maybe has a chance at it again this season. So for me, I don't know if he's going to get to Gobert's level, but I think there's some Gobert level type potential in there with him. And if you get a player who can be that good of a defensive anchor for a team, who understands defensive concepts, knows how to time shot blocking opportunities. The other element to his rim protection is, even when he doesn't get a block, his challenges at the rim are very, very good. And he also has a very good second jump capability, which also keeps him alive for more shot block opportunities, or also for rebounding the basketball after getting a contest around the rim. So a lot of benefits here for having Chet Holmgren be on the inside for your defense, specifically whether he's playing the 4 or 5. It doesn't matter. He's going to be a tough challenge for other offenses to score around. You see it this year with Cleveland, the addition of Evan Mobley next to Jarrett Allen, and also having Lauri Markkanen on the floor. It is hard to score over a bunch of 7-footers. If you can add Chet Holmgren, play him at whatever position you want, I don't care. He is going to make it way tougher for a team to score. I've seen a lot of Rockets fans saying, we don't want Chet Holmgren. I couldn't tell you why. You guys are giving up 119 points a night. Okay. Rockets fans are in no position to complain about drafting Chet Holmgren, because your defense would maybe transform overnight with that type of selection. So I think Houston should strongly consider Holmgren. And I think a whole bunch of teams needing defensive help should look at Chet Holmgren. Additionally, another strength for Chet is his shooting touch. I do have a slow-mo clip of him shooting the 3-ball, or actually shooting a mid-range jump shot here, but of course the form does fall into his 3-ball as well. And he shot 39% from 3 this past year for Gonzaga on over 100 attempts. He shot 105 threes and made 39% of them. So a very good clip for Holmgren this past season for Gonzaga as a freshman. And remember, now he's going to have to adjust to the NBA three-point line a little bit deeper, but I see no concerns here. He's got very good release on his form. He shoots it very high above his head. He also gets good backspin, and he also is a 1-2 jump shooter where you see his foot plants 1-2. He doesn't hop. So I think he'll be very consistent because he doesn't need to hop into his shots. He's going to be able to release them with whatever timing he's given. And I think that Holmgren's going to be a very nice piece to add into an NBA offense, even because of his shooting. Worst case scenario for you, he spaces the floor, can knock down the 3-ball with consistency, and also has some other elements to his game as well, which we're going to continue talking about. But I think the strength here for him as a shooter does play its way into a few different things for an offense, which we'll talk about more a little bit later on. Another strength, playmaking. This is one of the bigger ones for him, and what makes him so unicorn-esque compared to other prospects that I've evaluated and scouted. It's rare to have a 7-footer who can dribble the ball. It's rare to have a 7-footer who can pass the ball. It's rare to have a 7-footer who can do both. Holmgren fits into the category that can do both. He can dribble the basketball, he can push in transition, and he's also very capable of scoring for himself off the dribble, which is one of those areas where I want to see him improve even more. But he's already shown a lot of flashes there that are a very good sign for an NBA team. And then you also look at his passing capabilities, and this is what makes him so strong. This past season for Gonzaga, there was a ton of times in the two-man game between him and Drew Timme that they worked high-low, and Holmgren was a phenomenal passer in that situation. You can play him alongside a center offensively, and it won't be a death sentence, which is partially why I think Holmgren is such an intriguing prospect, is he might be able to play center, but he might be best as a power forward, where you have a mega-size lineup. And today's modern NBA, where the height's a little bit smaller, The average height in the NBA right now is about 6'6", whereas historically it's been closer to a 6'7", 6'8", which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but it is somewhat different when you look at the historical trends. Someone like Holmgren playing the 4 could give you a little bit of an advantage in matchups, specifically if he is able to get a little bit stronger and become a little bit more consistent as a scorer for himself. If you're going to play him against if you're going to have smaller guys on him, I think offensively there's some two-man game potential here with him as a passer and also as someone who just understands how to play the game, shoot. And if you play him at the 5, his shooting is really where you're going to have a mismatch as well. So Holmgren, a lot of different things he can do for you offensively. And then the other thing here that I want to talk about for his offensive capabilities is his off-ball IQ. He's going to catch a ton of lobs in the NBA, and that's not by accident, and it might not even be dependent on great guard play. He knows how to position himself. You're going to see a clip here where we have a drive off the left baseline. Holmgren spaces off and hits a little mid-range jump shot because he understands exactly where he needs to go when he's getting driven at. And this is true for a lot of different scenarios. When Drew Timme catches the ball down low, Holmgren is ready for a opposite side of the rim lob. Holmgren is very, very talented with his understanding of where to be when he does not have the basketball. He puts himself in position to score. He puts himself in position to help his teammates out when they need help. He is a very smart player, and I think there's not enough said in the NBA about smart players. You look at some of the best teams in the league, Golden State, for example, and Phoenix, they have a ton of smart basketball players, guys who know how to play the game the right way, make quick decisions. You hear it in San Antonio all the time. You've also heard it in Phoenix since Monty Williams took over, a former player for Greg Popovich. It's that 0.5 mentality where you're going to make a decision in half a second, whether you're shooting, passing, or dribbling. Holmgren fits that 0.5 style where he's going to make quick decisions and he's going to help a team win, because when you have a collection of players who know what to do with the basketball and know what to do when they don't have it, you're going to have a very talented team. So I think Holmgren could be a really nice offensive piece even though he's probably not a go-to scorer. When he doesn't have the ball in his hands, he's going to make the right play very consistently. I'm going to continue showing clips of this throughout this process here where you just see he does the right thing. And I think all of his strengths really come into a culmination of transition play. Specifically, let's start with his defense. You might be wondering, well, how does pick and roll defense and rim protection really help transition play? Well, the biggest thing is it's going to spark a lot of transition opportunities for a team. You know, teams like the Rockets right now who don't get stops don't get a lot of transition basketball opportunities, which is one of those things that's going to help Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. get going early in games. To add a rim protector and someone who can, get blocks and turn those into layups on the other end in Chet Holmgren, he's going to really help a team's offense, specifically with scoring in transition, scoring in fast break opportunities. It's just going to trigger more offensive breaks. And then you also look at his ability to pass the basketball. He's able to throw hit-ahead passes better than any big I think I've ever evaluated, because with my current age, I was not able to really evaluate Kevin Love unless you wanted to listen to about a 9-year-old's evaluation. But he's very Kevin Love-esque with his ability to pass the ball up the floor. Chet Holmgren, a very, very special passer of the basketball. He's going to be someone who is going to be capable of blocking a shot off the rim, or off the backboard, pinning it, coming down with it, and throwing a 45-foot pass on the money to a wide open dunk to whatever team he's playing for. I mean, Holmgren's a very special all-around prospect. And then you also look at his off-ball IQ, the way that it's going to help him here. He either knows when to run in transition and get to the rim. He's going to be a lob threat in transition, but he also is very understanding of being the trailing big man where he stops at the three-point line and everyone's recovering to the paint and he knocks down a wide open triple in transition because, counter matchups, no one sees him coming up the floor. He's the last man up and all of a sudden knocks down a dagger 3 on you at the end of a game. He's got every little bit to his game that you want to have for a player. The only questions for him are 2 real elements, which we're going to talk about here. The first one is physical strength, and this is where everyone likes to run wild, whether that's on Twitter or in my YouTube comment section, about what this guy is as a player, and they say, oh, he's not strong enough. Break down what you mean by that, because I do think that he is strong enough to do certain things. He plays stronger than he looks. Let's be honest about that as well. He went up against Jalen Duren in March Madness, and Jalen Duren's about 250 pounds and is a very physically ready NBA center. He's probably going to be the second center off the board in this class behind Holmgren, and Holmgren held his own against Duren a lot of times. Now, I'm going to show you one clip here where he did not hold up against Duren. And then in this clip, you see Duren goes right into his chest. Holmgren hits the floor, There was a flop warning issue on this play, so the ref indicated that Holmgren flopped. I also did put out a tweet on this, which you'll see on the screen as well, while I was watching this game live. But Holmgren did hold his own for the most part in this matchup. I'm going to show you some clips here as well, where Holmgren handles Duren on the block, where Duren tries to power through him and actually gets blocked at the rim a couple times. Holmgren is a very interesting prospect here because even though he looks very slight, he plays stronger than he really is. But at the same time, I still do think this is a weakness because I think it does make him more liable to get beat, especially against more skilled NBA bigs. The thing about Duren right now is he's not nearly as skilled as an Embiid or even as a Jokic, obviously, or even as a Karl Anthony Towns, some of the better physical big men in the league right now. Holmgren's going to have to get stronger. I'm not denying that. I don't want him to get up around 250 pounds, though, like what we saw with Mo Bamba. I want Holmgren to get up around 220, 225 pounds by year 3 of his NBA career. That's 30 pounds he has to put on right now. And, that's not going to happen overnight. But if he does put that on, I still think he's slight enough where he's going to be very mobile, going to be able to run in transition still, be able to switch out into the perimeter. But he's going to be strong enough to handle those guys a little bit more consistently. Let's be honest, no one in the NBA is right now is stopping Embiid, Jokic, or Towns. And I'm telling you, Holmgren's not going to be able to either. When you play against the all-time greats like that, you have to throw team defense at these players. You're not going to be able to just throw one guy. But I think Holmgren's going to be one of the more qualified players to throw at them, especially once he gets stronger. And then we also look at another weakness here for him. And is he a half-court go-to player? This is really the biggest question for me, even bigger than his strength question. Because when you look at a player, especially in this class, when you have Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith, Jaden Ivey, 3 guys that I'm very confident are going to score 20-plus points a game multiple seasons in their career, will Holmgren ever do that? And my answer to that is probably not. He's probably going to be at most an 18 to 19 point per game scorer, which is good. That's really good, especially when you consider that he's a defensive first player, which out of the top 4 guys in this class, he is clearly the best defender out of all 4 of them. Now, Jabari Smith does have some serious strengths when it comes to perimeter defense, and he's also a pretty solid weak side rim protector. But I think that Chet Holmgren's on another level defensively compared to all of those guys. And then also offensively, he's a nice connector piece where he's just going to be in the right spot consistently, going to make the right play. He's a nice passer. You can use him out of the post a lot of times. I don't think he's ever going to be a 25 point per game scorer. I just don't see that for him. And the issue here is a lot of people who are stat sheet warriors are going to say that he's a bust in comparison to Banchero, to Ivy, and to Jabari Smith, simply because he's not putting up the same numbers they are, specifically offensive numbers when it comes to points per game. I think that Banchero, Smith, and Ivy probably do outscore Holmgren in their careers, but Holmgren, to me, is maybe the more complete all-around NBA-ready type player because he's going to do more things than just score the basketball offensively. Not to say that those other 3 don't, but Holmgren, I think, is a very complete prospect and product on the floor. I mean, we talked about his strengths, and I had shooting, playmaking, defense, transition play, off ball IQ. I mean, I pretty much had every strength you can list in there for his strengths. That's how complete he is. So even though I'm not certain that he's going to be a half-court guy in terms of going to him in the playoffs, I still think there are some massive upsides here to him that he's going to help a team win a lot of games. My player archetype here then should come as no surprise to call him a 2-way connector. Since I don't think he's a mega superstar that you're going to give the ball to in playoff time to let him go get you a bucket, what I do think, though, is he's someone who helps a team win. If you're ready to take a massive jump forward, which every team should be looking to take a massive jump forward at all times, Chet Holmgren's going to do that for you. He's going to make you way more competitive defensively. He's going to fill in all the little spots on offense that could really help your team's efficiency and just, lead to more good basketball, more ball movement, more right decisions made. Chet Holmgren does all of that. So for me, a 2-way connector is the archetype title I'm giving him here. I think he's kind of a blend of Kristaps Porzingis and Rudy Gobert in certain ways. Now, I don't know if he's going to have the defensive accomplishments that Gobert has had, and I don't know if he's going to have the offensive scoring that Porzingis has had, but I think he kind of finds himself in a healthy medium between those 2 players where he just does a lot of really, really good things. He's going to be really fun to watch. There's going to be a lot of entertainment value for him on a team. And then my draft range here for him is he's going to go anywhere between picks 1 and 4, and it's really going to come down to the lottery. For example, in my last mock draft, I had the Houston Rockets take him 1st overall. So I do think pick 1 is a serious possibility, but I do think that some teams maybe get a little bit scared with his size and strength and that question about if he's a half-court scorer. and maybe he goes as low as 4. I would bet not. I bet he stays in the top 3. If he goes after 4, something went terribly wrong and a GM deserves to get fired. But then for where I would take him either 1 or 2, and then anywhere after. If he's available at 1, or obviously he'll be available at 1, I would consider him unless I really needed a guard or thought I wanted a guard, because I like Jaden Ivey. I think Jaden Ivey is the best player in this class. So I would take Ivey over Holmgren. If everything was the same, say I have no players on my team, I would opt for Ivey. But at 2, if Ivey's off the board, that's where Chet Holmgren, he's my second best player in the class. For me, I think all around he's going to do way more things than Boncaro, for example, and even more than Jabari Smith as well. So I think at pick 2, really, if Ivey was off the board, that's where I would for sure take him. I think Chet Holmgren's a really good prospect. I think the slander around him needs to stop. Stop comparing him to Bol. That's just terrible. Bol moves like he's got an iron rod for a spine, whereas Chet Holmgren is very fluid, versatile, flexible. I mean, they're completely different players. Stop comparing the two of them. That's just not right, okay? Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Thank you so much for watching today. Leave a like on today's video if you did enjoy. Also, check out our other videos, such as our NBA mock drafts. I have scouting profiles on Hugo Bassan, Ron Harper Jr., and also hit that subscribe button too. That would be really greatly appreciated if you could subscribe to the channel for more great content like today's video. Thanks again so much, and we'll catch you in the very next Utility Sports video.